Whoa! It is Halloween Sunday. How is everybody doing? Today we're going to talk about opportunity cost when buying sports cards and other collectibles. I'll define what this means. Let's get into it. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all my collectibles friends out there in the universe. We have made it to Halloween. Can you believe it's already Halloween 2021? The year has flown by. I don't know where 2021 went. We're already kind of moving into 2022. I see people getting their Christmas stuff ready to come out. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. It's barely Halloween and everyone's ready to roll through these holidays. Look, I like holiday season. I enjoy holiday season. So I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Today we are going to talk about opportunity cost when it comes to buying sports cards and collectibles. And I think this is a great topic. And it kind of brings me back. If we just like storytell for a second, this makes me think of like back in the late 80s, early 90s, Sears had, I think it was Sears, I'm pretty sure it was, had a giant Christmas catalog that went out every year. And it was massive. It was like, and it was full of toys. So it was basically like the Sears toy catalog. Toys R Us had something similar as well to this, but it was fun to go through it. And basically, my parents would say circle, different things that you like in here, whatever. I would circle like 1,000 things. And we didn't do Christmas big. I'm not from any sort of big time money or anything, very middle class family. And it wasn't always about just getting presents. That was actually very little about what the holidays is about for me. But it was just fun to go in and circle things that I thought were cool and then go back and look at those things that I had circled, not necessarily because I was planning on getting it, but because of the possibility. And that's what we're going to talk about today are possibilities. And when you look at sports cards and collectibles, the possibilities are really kind of endless. There is endless different types of cards. I see new cards every day. Different ones is what I mean. Different sets where it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I've never seen that set before. It's endless. So I know we talk a lot about manufacturing and different things moving forward with the changes and everything. But in reality, you have 100 plus years of sports card sets. And we have to every day as sports card buyers, take a look and figure out where we're going to put our resources, our money. And that can be very, very difficult to decide. And there's a lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times, there's some times where I buy something and then I look back and, later in the day, I'm sure people can relate to this on eBay or somewhere else, and they see something else and they're like, oh man, I wish that maybe I hadn't bought that thing earlier and I could have gone with this. And even if you're well organized and you've got a great list of the things you're looking for, that can change. It's no different when you're at the card show, a card show like at the National. At the National, you go in with a plan, you go in with a list, but in reality, you're going to see something there that you're like, man, that's really cool. I wasn't thinking about that. And that is a really cool card. So that can be very tricky. It's difficult to figure this out. And this is an issue with everyone. I mean, even if you had it narrowed down to one player, Kobe Bryant cards and Kobe Bryant autos, there's a zillion options there for Kobe Bryant autos. You'd think that they're very limited, but they're not. They're not limited. There's a lot of Kobe autos. There's a lot of autos in general out there for many players. And then forget about even just sports cards and non-sports cards. What about other collectibles? If you know me, I've got graded starting lineups. I've got graded comic books. I've got graded video games. There's a variety of different collectibles that I buy and that I really enjoy. I've got some NBA Top Shot. Those are the NFTs that I have, but that's still kind of, I would consider that an alternative to sports cards, to physical sports cards. So, and then when you go beyond collectibles, you've got traditional investments. When you think about opportunity costs, when you're putting money into cards or graded comic books, graded video games, what about the stock market? What about real estate? What about the traditional stuff? Cryptocurrency is more of an alternative investment, but it's slowly becoming more in the mainstream to where it's a little bit more traditional, which sounds weird when you think about cryptocurrency, but it's becoming on main exchanges now. It's pretty common for folks to have a Coinbase account or to have, some sort of account where they trade cryptocurrency. I believe Robinhood has it, or they're bringing it to their trading account. All the kind of like, the traditional stock trading trading accounts are adding cryptocurrency to that as well, to where you can buy and sell it. We're always trying to find value, and that can be really tricky when you've seen kind of a sports card market to hit all-time highs. Now we've seen it kind of move off of those all-time highs, but no different with, you know, the stock market and real estate. I believe the stock market was at all-time highs on Thursday, Friday last week. The Dow Jones at what, like 34, 35,000. Real estate, have you checked real estate prices lately? When you go to buy a house, way up, historical highs in many cases. Obviously can't speak for every city out there, but, you know, as far as just real estate as a whole, it's not inexpensive to buy homes right now. So you're kind of looking around and you're like, man, everything feels expensive, because it is compared to where it has been. We're in kind of a inflationary type world right now. Even with cryptocurrencies and NFTs, you're seeing all-time highs with cryptocurrencies, NFTs. People are buying, you know, raccoons and bears and apes and all sorts of different things. My take on NFTs right now is I do think that they are the future. They have a place and all of that stuff. But man, I think that a lot of people are going to get smoked on NFT projects. And I know that, you know, I see Gary Vee saying 99% of NFT projects are going to fail. So he's kind of setting the precedent of like, here, like, you know, a lot of people are going to lose on these art NFTs. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I do have NBA Top Shot. I like more where there's, you know, the NBA is behind it, the NFL is behind it, MLB is behind it, those types of NFTs. I think maybe I have a little bit more comfort in sports stuff that's licensed. You know, but, you know, when you get into some of those art NFTs and they start at 1 or 2 ETH just to get started, I'm like, man, unless you just time that volatility just right with some of those, it's just scary. Those are scary. And you have seen projects. I think there was one, I saw an example of one NFT project where it was up at, the floor was at 9 ETH at one point, which is what, $35,000 roughly. And now the floor is 0.08 ETH. I can't remember which project it was, but it was an example of one where it can happen. It can happen where you throw some serious cash or ETH or whatever you want to call it at it, and it doesn't go to the moon. You know, NFTs are extremely speculative. We talk about sports cards and everything else. These are all very speculative markets, but at least sports cards has been around for 100 plus years. I'm being really careful and just staying away from the art NFTs right now. All the animals, you know, all the animals to choose from. I'm just not gonna, I'm not getting in yet. Now, who knows? Maybe down the road that changes, but right now it just makes me nervous. So I'm going to stay put on those. I think too, what a lot of people don't realize when you look at, like, you know, Warren Buffett, for example, it's like, man, this guy's like the greatest trader of all time. But in reality, Warren Buffett has made a handful of huge moves. He's made a lot of moves over time, but the ones that are really defining moves for him, you know, are few. You know, when you talk about trades, he's a buy and hold long-term guy. He picks companies that he believes in, and he just gets in at the right time and he holds. He just sits on it. And one example is Coca-Cola. And a lot of people probably think like, oh man, Warren Buffett's probably been on Coca-Cola all forever. And yes, he has been in it for a very long time, 35 years or so. But when did he get in? And I think this is kind of a critical piece. And it's something that has made me think more too about buying assets is he got in 1988, the first quarter of 88. If you look into this, he really got into Coca-Cola big. He put $1 billion in 1988 into Coca-Cola in Q1. When did the big stock market crash happen? October 19th, October 20th. I don't remember the exact date, 21st, 1987. So just a couple months prior to him moving into Coca-Cola in a big way, he bought it at $3.25 a share. So on Black Monday, the stock market went down 22% in one day, and it slowly kind of eroded there. And then he got in at $3.25 a share for Coca-Cola. It was a company that he had targeted. He had targeted it, and then he got in. He was waiting for the right opportunity. Maybe he felt like it was overpriced previously, and maybe he did already own some Coca-Cola. I'm not sure on that, but he went big on Coca-Cola, moved his chips to the center of the table when the crash happened. And that's when he moved in. The same thing happened with Bank of America. If you look at the subprime mortgage meltdown, the Great Recession that we had in 2009, he moved, I think it was $5 billion into Bank of America when the stocks sunk. When, the Dow was down to 5 and change, around 6,000. The Dow Jones, just kind of process that. The Dow Jones went down to about 6,000 in 2009 after the subprime mortgage crash. And so now we're at what, 35,000? You're talking about some massive gains. Think about all the people, the big money that rolled their money in. I'm talking about the high earners, the high net worth folks that got in at 6,000 on the Dow, and then they've just been kind of, riding that wave. And a lot of them have probably sold over time, sold some things off and whatever. But if you were kind of a long-term hold, you got in at a great time. My point here is that I'm just kind of wondering, when I'm buying assets, should I be stockpiling cash? Because anytime in history, really, when we look back and you see the all-time highs for real estate or for the stock market or whatever it is, eventually it can't go up forever and it has to come back down to some degree. Obviously, nobody knows what the future holds. Maybe it does keep going up. But like all markets, from what we've seen, is markets go like this. And, I think there's probably a lot of people. And actually, I saw an interview, this was maybe a year ago, Mark Cuban, he was just talking about, I'm stockpiling cash. And why is he doing that? And he was talking about look, I see these deals, there's different real estate deals, different things. And it's just it doesn't sound great. And part of the reason why it doesn't sound great is because it's so inflated. The costs are so inflated. And so with Sports Cards Collectibles, you have a similar thing that happened, especially back in February when prices were at all-time highs. And so again, we have had kind of a retracement for sports cards and a lot of collectible spaces, but I think that's kind of what the people are kind of waiting for, that ball, that pin to drop. Are we coming into a recession? Because there's a lot of signs that point to it. And look, we haven't raised interest rates in 12 years since the subprime mortgage, debacle happened. And so literally you've just had zero, this tiny, tiny low interest rates forever. Eventually, that probably will change. Of course, maybe it won't. Maybe we'll just keep interest rates low forever. But, if it did happen, how would we all prepare for it? And so I've been thinking about that more. Not that I'm not buying assets, because I am. I've got a mail day video that'll come out probably tomorrow-ish. And I'll kind of show some of the different things that I've been buying. But it's just making me think should I be really kind of focused more on cash right now, just to be kind of ready if there is a big dip somewhere, whether it's, in these different asset classes, to be able to get in on the dip. Now, I'm not saying you can't always time the market. Obviously, none of us can time the market, but there is something to be said for, if there's a big fall, that you're ready to take advantage of that with cash on hand. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. This is kind of more of the finance with the collectibles, with the sports cards, with all this stuff. I like talking about this stuff. As you know, I enjoy talking about kind of the finance element of all this stuff. It's fun for me. And so let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know I've had a lot of viewership that's talked about, look, dude, there is a recession coming. And of course, we don't know what's going to happen, but let me know, are you kind of sitting on the sidelines? Or are you in and just kind of doing your thing? Or are you just kind of looking for pockets, in all of these places? Because I think that even regardless of prices being high here and there in different places, there are pockets of opportunity always. There always is. So let me know your strategy in the comments. I'd like to hear kind of how you guys are doing it. I will talk to you again later. Have an amazing Halloween, guys. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.